Today on the Tiger Lacrosse Report, we'll preview the Tigers' games against the Michigan Wolverines and the Oregon Ducks. Get ready, fans. The Tiger Lacrosse Report starts now. Hello again, and welcome to today's edition of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Ben Rosenbaum. It's a busy week for the Tiger Lacrosse team as they will host the Michigan Wolverines on Wednesday and then the Oregon Ducks on Saturday. As always, I'm joined by head coach Sonia LaMonica. Coach, thanks for joining us.
How we doing?
Doing all right. So you got 3 games unofficially under your belt now.
Yeah, in a way.
After the Georgetown game, and now you go into a busy week with Michigan on Wednesday and Oregon on Saturday. Start with Michigan. They're kind of interesting. They're 2-3. Mm-hmm. They have a big loss to number 17 Colorado. They get blown out by Butler and Canisius, but then a 1-goal loss to number 10 Navy.
Yeah.
What are you seeing from the Wolverines where it's kind of any day can be a different team?
Well, I think that's the nature across the board, not just for Michigan, but for all the teams out there. There's still a lot of feeling out of where teams sit. It's hard to kind of gauge, and I honestly think, it could be anyone's year. So that makes it super exciting. And again, just a reminder that no matter who we play, we've just got to come out and be ready to execute our game plan. So, for Michigan, they've had a number of games. They've been traveling around. And, they've got a couple of really great players. So it's going to be important for us to establish our tempo, play our game, and as I said, as always, executing to our potential.
Offensively, you mentioned they have a bunch of good players. They're kind of built like you. Anyone can kind of score. They're led by Adriana Pendino. She has 15 goals, but then Chandler, Kane, and Grass, all capable of having a big game. So defensively, you really have to be kind of head on a swivel to this game.
Yeah, I think they share the ball really well. They've seen different defensive sets this year, and I think, from what we've seen, sort of some different style for them, but I think they typically they're playing pretty up-tempo, but patient, and they're playing well as a team. You see everybody involved. It's not just 1 or 2 people. They're really working together. So, it's going to take obviously a full defensive effort. It's going to take our unit defensively, making sure that they're working well together, and just limiting to the shots we want them to take.
In a game where you're seeing an offense in Michigan that they could explode for a handful of goals. Obviously, just gave Navy a tough time. Draw controls are going to be crucial, and Garrett and Kane have been dominant. I think 20 and 18 respectively draw controls for them so far this season. So whether it's Natalie or whoever you have on the wings, kind of around her, they've got to be ready to pounce.
Yeah, they've got 2 great options, and with slightly different styles. So. For us, Natalie has just been outstanding. Yep. She's really getting into her rhythm. She had a great game against Georgetown. She's just operating at a high level. So, I think she's ready. I think she's ready to step in and to continue that. And there's confidence in the circle play, as of now with Olivia and Emily. But we've got lots of middies who, can step in just depending on how the game's flowing and what's going on. So I have a lot of confidence in our draw unit. Yep. They're going to have to show up and be ready to execute.
And as we move from Michigan to Oregon, I want to take a moment. You're ranked now in the top 10 in both polls, and one as high as 9. That's got to be, something to put a feather in your cap, but not the ultimate goal.
It's nice. I think it's, if anything, it's great for our players, just because that we've been working for this. Top 10 is great. Let's go for the top 5 here. Sure. But it's just nice to see that it's kind of that hard work is sort of translating, and for our players, for themselves to see that, to continue to build on that confidence. And also just that, it's just nice to get a bit of that recognition and show that we're on a great path, but we need to keep getting better with each game. There's still a lot of lacrosse to be played.
And we move right along to Saturday, where there
Yeah.
will be more lacrosse played
Yes.
against the Oregon Ducks, 2-1. Their one loss to number 7 Syracuse. This is a team you played last year.
Yeah.
Maybe played down to a little bit, still beat them pretty easily, but it was maybe a closer game than
Yeah.
many expected.
Yeah, again, another team that's on the rise, and they've got, again, some really great players that have some incredible skill sets, and and a great draw taker. So yeah, again, we're trying to keep our team focused on what's right in front of us for now. But yeah, we certainly have a lot of work that we're putting in to prepare, as we get through Wednesday's game, and then so that we're ready for that quick turnaround. And I think that's the biggest thing. We have 2 days to prepare for Oregon when we welcome them here on Saturday. So yeah, one day at a time. But it's going to be an exciting week, and we have to do our jobs. We have to keep everything in check. We need our focus to be in place, and we've been idle for a little bit here, so now it's really kind of back to work, and I think we're ready. I know we're ready.
In contrast to Michigan, where they have 4 or 5 players that can kind of score the ball, Oregon's scoring early has been limited to 3 players. It's Zubalaga, Williams, and Gatti all have been the main goal scorers, and they're way ahead of any of their other teammates.
Yeah.
Does it kind of help when you look at them from a defensive standpoint and say, okay, it's probably coming from one of these 3?
Oh yeah, of course. Tendencies we're always paying attention to figure out where those hot spots are, whether it's regions on the field, particular players and particular tendencies that allow them to be successful, and how do we combat that? How do we limit that? But and for us, it's 7 people out there, 8 with our goalie, and they've all got to be doing their job because great teams are going to find, if you're shutting down their key players, they're going to find other people to expose where you're overcompensating. So you have to be careful, and I think Oregon's a good enough team to do that when you overcompensate too much. So we've certainly got to keep their key players in check. That's step 1, and then step 2 is make sure we're not exposing anything else too openly.
And then for you offensively, quickly, obviously everyone knows Emily had a huge game against Georgetown. Carly had 2 big games against Georgetown. Natalie's played well. Caitlin Montalbano, Gabby Cha. Gabby's still getting back into the swing of things. Are you looking for more from the 2 of them, or are you happy at the pace they're going at?
They're doing great. Gabby has been outstanding in her role from practice and then into games. I mean, she's certainly put some goals on the board. She's finished really well, and she's just doing a great job of bringing that dynamic balance to our offense when we've got some great sort of drivers. We've got some great feeders, and then she's one, not the only, but she's one of those people providing. Again, you talk about, exposing the defenders if they're not honoring you. She does that better than many, better than most. So I think Gabby's been doing outstanding. And then Caitlin has also, she's somebody, she drills really hard in practice, which just sets the tone for everybody. And she's a worker, she's a worker, and, she does a lot of things within our offense that helps to lead to goals. And that's really what it takes. It's a team effort. And I think that's the beauty this year in particular. Probably one of our biggest strengths is just, as we've seen, different games, some different breakouts from different individuals. I think that makes us tough to figure out who do you pay attention to. When you've got, Natalie, who's, been a key, threat on offense, as well as Carly, and then you've got Gillingham after 7 goals in Georgetown, and, Caitlin, obviously we have a lot of players down there, and then Caitlin Thornton as well. She's, starting to get into a rhythm and building confidence as a freshman. So I just think we've got a lot of threats, and the neat thing is I see them they're playing so unselfishly. Which is right where we need to be.
Absolutely.
And they're all just doing it together.
Yep. And you'll have 2 chances this week, fans, to see the Tigers in action. First on Wednesday at 4 o'clock inside John Unitas Stadium against the Michigan Wolverines. And then on Saturday at 3 o'clock against the Ducks of Oregon. If you can't make it out to the U at any point this week, myself and Sam Brookhart will have the call for you live on TowsonTigers.com. For head coach Sonia LaMonica, I'm Ben Rosenbaum. Thanks for joining us, and as always, go Tigers.